I'm gonna go ahead and start with, with intros. Um, so again, y'all, welcome. This is our second, actually our first committee meeting of the 23-24 school year while school's in session. So our mission, again, through research, outreach, and advocacy, our mission is to promote equity, diversity, and excellence in East Charlotte schools. We have a list of 32 East Side schools that we serve. But our primary focus for the past few years has really been on the Central and Monroe Road corridor schools. Our 2023 focus areas: facilitating school community partnerships, which I'm very excited about folks who've been re-engaging and reinvigorating that work; incorporating student voice and student assignment. So again, committee norms: speak up, share your interests, passions, ideas, and proposals. Invite others to the table, stay on topic, respect time, and always let the best interests of children guide our work. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. The agenda that I sent out earlier is still the same, but want to talk very quickly and just kind of open it up to the people as parents, as educators, as folks watching from afar. How have the first 2 weeks of school been going for everybody? I know, Anna, where have you been spending most of your time these first 2 weeks? I'm calling you on the spot. You can chime in later.
Oh, hey, no, that's fine. I couldn't get to my mute button. I'm sorry. Hey, y'all.
Hey, how's it been going? First 2 weeks.
First 2 weeks has been busy from my perspective. I've been out and around. So I'm Anna Kennington. I work with communities and schools. I supervise a team of 11 youth development coordinators in 10 of our high schools, 4 of which are on the east side. So I've been out visiting schools, and everybody just kind of still getting settled, and a lot of helping kids make sure they are in the right classes and getting the support they need. So it's been busy, but pretty positive overall, I'd say.
Cool. Glad to hear it. SY. I'm curious, and Catherine, from parent perspectives. I mean, this is a senior year, SY. It's senior
Yes,
year.
and
How's
it
it
has
how's it
lived
how's
up
it
to
going?
it has lived up to its reputation. Parents before me said senior year is just unbelievably hectic, and it is. But we persevere. Things are going well. The real schedule starts tomorrow. You know, the first 10 days are a little different. And tomorrow marks our first PTSO meeting. SMEC will be having its school improvement team meeting on Monday of next week. So I'll have more to report back to the group at our October meeting. But it has been very hectic. I am impressed that there's more use of QR codes and less paper, but I still brought home more paper than I would like to have had from open house.
It's good to hear. Good to hear. I see we have our folks from the East Learning Community are joining us. We have the Learning Community Superintendent, Trish Sexton, and the Executive Director, Jay McIver. Thank you both for joining us. So glad to see both of y'all.
Thank you for having us.
We're just, briefly talking about the, I know the first 10 days, especially from an administrative side, it's a lot. There's a lot going on. We've been both today and Friday without power at Garinger in the morning, but not the fault of Garinger, the fault of, I guess, reckless drivers and Duke Power. So it's always a journey, right? First 10 days, but and I know we've been talking with this group. I am going to just go ahead and get into the agenda, but I did want to touch base as first 10 days are tough. There's a lot going on, and I feel like things don't really settle down really until the beginning of October, or actually in 2 weeks or so, once you get that introductory period all the way through. But things are looking good at Garinger. I mean, I think our enrollment is is interesting, and I know the numbers for this group, I know we hawked data quite a bit, so once we get those 20th day counts, it'll be interesting to really analyze. But I will say this, and you all can correct me if I'm misspeaking, Trish and Jam, but it's interesting what the Magnet Express stops from at least the first week seem to have done for our enrollment in terms of ESL students, because you might have some insight on this too. It seems like the first couple days, a lot of the students who had been signed up to go to PACE Academy have ended up coming back to Garinger. I think the first 2 days, if I'm not mistaken, I heard a number that was about 50 plus. And it's just, initial year doing this with Magnet Express, seeing how it works, seeing how it doesn't. But I remember that number stuck out to me because I've been getting a lot of kids as freshmen English that are coming from, that went to Philip O'Berry for a few days. I got one today that went to Hawthorne for 9 days and has come back. I got actually a few from Philip O'Berry. So it's interesting as we talk about like school and community design with programming, how this Magnet Express stop is gonna kind of shake some things up. I don't know if anybody else has any other insight on how that has been going.
I can just share that a couple of the older siblings of the kids that participate at ourBRIDGE, the parents have been reaching out trying to fully understand the system and the process. And I know our staff has been able to kind of guide them through that, which is part of it's like a contract that we have with CMS to help families navigate when they're newly arrived, when things like this happen. But I mean, there weren't too many that I know of.
That are going to PACE, you mean?
Right. That they were supposed to go and they were a little confused at the beginning of the year. I believe that they were able to sort it out with the families and our staff. But again, I mean, there weren't too many that I know of.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear.
Mm-hmm.
That is good to hear.
I know too, Greg, that the district has also been keeping track of the hardships, not just for Garinger. We saw a few over at Hawthorne as well because of the shuttle stops, and just working or trying to work with the principals and the families to get that set up and actually working for them a little bit better. I think anytime we try to do something different, we try to get the word out there and we try to talk about it a lot. And we did talk about this a lot last year before it started, but I don't think that people understood that they would be impacted. And if they don't know it's directly impacting them, then they don't really pay attention sometimes to all the information that's coming out. So I think that, on both sides of the fence, we're trying to make it work. But I do know that you guys got a lot of kids back from PACE. I think some students were placed there. I can't say by accident, so they were improperly placed there. We'll say that. And then a lot of your kids chose to come back to Garinger, although they could have gone to PACE. They didn't want to do that. And high school parents tend to let their kids make some choices sometimes, instead of making it for them. We like to listen to the kids and get their input. So I think a lot of them chose to go back to the school rather than to go over to the new PACE Academy.
It's interesting. Thank you for that insight. And for those unfamiliar, PACE, what does the acronym stand for?
You would ask me that. And I can't call it. I can't call it out. Trisha's having internet issues. I know she'd be able to call it out right away.
I know, but the design, for those unfamiliar, it's really a school for essentially newcomers to the district. Well, excuse me, to the United States and to the district. But I think that the intent, the design is that students really start there, and then they ultimately, if they feel, they would come back to their home schools, if I'm not mistaken. So that is what PACE is. And we, I know Garinger, we have a very high number of English language learners. So it's very interesting. I'm curious to see how that all shakes out. Once the full data reports come out, it'll be something to definitely look at. Alrighty, y'all. So with that said, I'm gonna go ahead, Katie. If you want me to tackle any of this, but I'm gonna kick it over to you,
Okay.
just to talk about some of the phenomenal work that our Garinger, Eastway, and Mary Oaks subcommittees have been doing. So Katie, take it away.
Awesome. We have been slowly rolling out a few things. We met, I guess it was a month ago or so. I don't quite remember. I have a 1-year-old and 3-year-old, so my brain's always fogged. But we met about a month ago and talked about a bunch of ideas on how we want to support these 3 schools, and we ended up narrowing it down to mainly teacher support. We want to love on the teachers as best we can, and then we'll do some community-based support with the schools. So Garinger Giveaway will be one of those, and then the third thing would be PBIS, which is the reward system that I think all of the schools use. I know Garinger and Eastway do, right? Does Mary Oaks use the PBIS as well? I think they do.
I'm not sure. Thank you,
Okay.
Jan.
Yeah. Anyways, so those are our main focus areas, because if we try to do anything bigger than that, it will just not go well. So we're going to start small but mighty, specifically for the staff, because they need lots of love. So we've thought about different ways we're going to meet with different business partners in the community, different coffee places, different restaurants, and see if they're willing to donate gift cards to the teachers or coupons or whatever. And then we're also going to be collecting funds. And those funds will be used to like recognize sets of teachers. It might be like all of the English department or whatever we do for each school. And then provide like baked goods and things like that, just to like, not just on Teacher Appreciation Week. We'd like to like recognize the teachers year round. The first big thing we have is the Garinger Giveaway. And it's not our event, it's Garinger's event, but they're going to be giving away backpacks, feminine products, different hygiene products, and some other various things. But they have several volunteer opportunities to either set up or be a part of the event. And I think Greg will be able to get you a link for that. We've created one, and then Garinger has one as well. I don't know if you have that one, Greg, but I can send that to you.
I did not yet.
Yeah, I saw it. I follow them on Facebook, and so I saw that one. I'll send you that one. Just there's a ton of different times and avenues to attend this event. So it's a drive-through event. People can pick up various supplies and everything. If you have any new backpacks, that would be helpful. There's an Amazon wish list for this as well. The event is on the 26th of this month. And then I think they might be doing stuff the night before as well, but we'll look into that. The other thing, I know Carol and Catherine are on this call. Carol's going to be mainly heading up Mary Oaks.
Katie, I've got slides for each of the schools.
Perfect.
So with the Garinger thing, and I think Missy jumped on the call too. So can you guys explain the what the need is for volunteers for this day really quickly?
Yeah, if Missy's on the call, she can pop on.
Sure. So I've been speaking with some of the people that are organizing it, and there's a few different ways you can jump in. There's a sign up where you can help stuff bags the week before, and then the day of there's 2 different slots, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and they just need help with directing traffic, loading cars, hospitality room, lots of different ways to be a part of that. So that's all in that sign up right there.
And I will shoot this out as well after the meeting with the video. So, I mean, guys, these events are pretty we do get a lot of kids and families that come through for need. So anything that can be donated, I'll make sure that you guys get the link. I think that kicks us over now to Eastway. And Catherine, I pulled up just a screenshot of your Facebook post in the committee with kind of the PBIS explanation of the Eastway store. So whoever wants to kind of explain the Eastway piece, and then I'll kick it to Carol for Mary Oaks.
So yeah, there we have a whole PBIS Amazon wish list for Eastway, and it was created by the school. So it's all things that they were wanting as their positive behavior rewards for students. And I think they really do want to make it something that the kids want. So they have some really great stuff on there, and already people have been sending things to the school. Or if you're at the grocery store and you see any of these kind of items on sale and you want to pick them up, they're happy to take them at the school. I'm even happy to come pick up from people if you need help with that. And then there's a ton of wish lists, like teacher wish lists for Eastway, and that's where my post comes in. I've just been trying to keep an eye out, like if I see stuff on sale, people want to buy it. This is just their Battle of the Books team with their media center had some requests. So, yep.
Thank you. So I'm gonna make sure, and I'm sorry, y'all. I should have given y'all a heads up before the meeting. I was like, hey, I'm gonna have you you talk about these things I'm not giving you a heads up on. But I think like the work that y'all are doing, and I'll kick it to Carol, but is so dope, which is really getting the school what it wants and needs, like what the school is saying it wants and needs, and what the teacher are saying they want and need, and providing that, right? And I think as we evolve with this committee, that's exactly the type of work that I want to do across the board with all of our schools. Is just really be intentional about listening and responding to on the ground needs. So y'all are awesome. And I will send it to Miss Carol.
Greg, before we leave that,
Sure, yes.
Catherine, I think it was Catherine that did the post on Facebook or what have you. May we have your contact information? I may have a copy of the Gordon Corman title.
Okay.
A new copy that I can donate. I just need to check. If I do, I'd like to be able to get it to you.
Yeah, awesome. You want me to put my email in the chat?
Yes, please.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. So I've been hanging out at Mary Oaks a little bit and helping with their Friday fundraiser, which is a candy sale. This is how they've been raising their money for field trips. So kids send in $1 and they buy a couple pieces of candy that, and that money goes to the field trips. So it takes a couple hours, and I'm hoping to, this first time I did it with Molly, who's the literacy facilitator for the lower grades, and running a fundraiser is not the highest and best use of a literacy facilitator. So, I now know what the drill is, so I have a couple other folks who've volunteered to help out. And so hopefully we won't take much of Molly's time and be able to run this without having staff too involved. And I've also talked to Molly about how we can sort of share some love with staff. Mary Oaks is a small school, but it would be a sort of big effort to do something for all staff all at once. So we are approaching it sort of department by department or grade level by grade level. And I kicked it off with bags of cookies for bus drivers with a little note of appreciation. And I heard they were well received. And so we're going to be doing that. I've got several folks who volunteered to bake goods and wrap them up nice and put little notes of appreciation on them. And we won't hit everybody all at once, but we'll get through everybody periodically. The other thing we're just the fourth thing that's not on this 4 things you can do is just to flat out donate money that can go toward teacher appreciation and or field trips. And I've already had one person reach out saying they'd like to sponsor a field trip. So I'm getting the costs of all the various field trips that they have in the hopper and that are planned to see which one they would like to sponsor and how much those are. So I'm waiting for staff to get back with me on that. I know they want to go to, one grade level wants to go to children's theater, which is now pretty pricey because there's no price cut, no discount for Title I schools. So that's one. The other is, I think it's the 4th grade is raising trout with working with Trout Unlimited, and they have a field trip planned to go and take their trout up into the mountains and release them in a stream. And so that will cost money they want to get a regular bus as opposed to an activity bus. It's kind of a long way to go in an activity bus. So they're looking at costs on that. So hopefully we can not have to do the candy fundraiser all year, and we'll have enough money to do these things without spending time raising money every week.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. This is really, especially to start the year strong like this and be a consistent, constant presence makes the biggest difference in the world. Truly. And I think on this note, and I actually forgot to add this to the agenda, but Carol, as you're talking about field trips, I was at an event with CRV, the Charlotte Regional Visitors Authority last week at the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and their events coordinator was very much pushing on me that they're giving, they have a ton of money in the NASCAR Hall of Fame budget to do field trips and pay for field trips for specifically earmarked for Title I students in Title I schools. So just want to lift that into the space. They do, and I thought it was like, okay, NASCAR Hall of Fame, but no, they do a lot of like STEM workshops. So something to lift up. Alrighty, y'all. The bonds. So the Charlotte Regional Business Alliance has now joined forces with a number of other community leaders to get going on the Vote Yes for Bonds campaign. And for those of you, all of us are aware of what this is on this call, but this is big, y'all. Like this includes the work that our committee has been doing for a very, very, very long time. In this bond passing is $56 million for Garinger, which will include the ability for us to do some programmatic changes. It'll include Cochrane being revamped. It'll include Albemarle Road Middle School being revamped. Really some monumental changes for our community that are very long overdue. I just wanted to lift it up and make folks aware that the communication, the messaging is out now. And Karita, I see you on the call. I hope you're doing well. Elise Deshoe asked me to pinpoint somebody from CharlotteEAST who could have a good reach to serve on the how did she phrase it? I guess on the steering committee for how outreach would go for like community outreach. So Dr. Gavon Hunt from Black Child Development Institute is going to be lifting that work for CharlotteEAST and ensuring that the communication about the importance of this bond is getting put out into the community. While we do our thing as CharlotteEAST as a whole organization, we're definitely going to be pushing this as hard as we can. But this website is out there now that does a good job of explaining. And I think it just kind of went live recently, but the importance of this. And I think as many of us have talked about before, the messaging is really about the students that it impacts and how it's tied to student achievement. What is it? It ended up being 1.8 billion. What is the final number, Carol? Do you remember?
2.5 ish.
2.5. I don't know. I thought 1.8. 2.5. This is a big deal. And I know in our capacity, I've been told as CMS employees, we're limited from advocating for this in that capacity, but let me pull it up, SY. It's just voteyesforbonds.com. But it's out there. It is out there now. So as you all have conversations in the community really about supporting schools, especially with this subcommittee work about Eastway and Garinger and Mary Oaks. This messaging about one of the best ways to support our schools in this feeder pattern is by supporting this bond is really, 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 really important. I just can't understate it enough. Can't overstate it enough. I'm sorry, y'all. It's been a long one. And I see, Carol, you're looking at corporate grants that we can tap for teacher appreciation. Awesome, awesome. So on the topic of what's going to be on the ballot as well, I wanted to bring this up tonight, and Louise is not on the call. She is helping another candidate. Have a good evening, Trish. Thank you for joining. I'll send out the video in the minutes. But Louise is not on the call with us tonight, but she made a very, very good point to me the other day about the necessity of, in our capacity, what we can do as a nonprofit, communicating to the public information about the candidates for the at-large Board of Elections seat. There are 14 candidates who are going for 3 seats. Elise and Jennifer De La Har are not going to be running. They're not going to be seeking another term. Lenora Shipp is the only incumbent who will be seeking another term. And then you have 13 other candidates. And y'all, I usually hawk like municipal elections. I have no idea what's going on here myself. There are a few candidates who I know a good bit about to make like informed decisions, but this is very overwhelming. There's a lot. So I think Louise is going to steer this work. And actually the Black Political Caucus reached out to me today to see if we could provide some support for their forum. So, and I know SY, you and I have talked about the African American Caucus of MCBP as well, doing an event. But I do know, I was told today, the Black Political Caucus is going to do an event on September 28th at Weeping Willow. They're going to do an event. And SY, have you guys nailed down a date, or do you know what you're doing at this point yet?
Yes, we have. We were planning on the first week of October, but Friendship Baptist Church is having a candidate forum, and I think it's including other municipal elections in addition to the school board. The African American Caucus will be hosting 2 nights of school board at-large candidate forum, Tuesday, October 10th and Thursday, October 12th. Both will be virtual at 6:30 in the evening, and you should look for something tomorrow in your email and with the graphic flyer and information.
Nice. Thank you for.
And then we're having a candidate meet and greet the following Thursday for all municipal candidates, October 19th. I'll send that to you as well.
SY is the Democratic African American Caucus just including Democrats, or are you giving voice to all of them?
We are inviting all of the candidates as we did last year.
Yeah.
Because the race itself is nonpartisan, we thought that it would be best to include all candidates.
Yeah.
And so that is what we're doing. We will have an endorsement process as well. We are a caucus of the Mecklenburg County Democratic Party, so you can determine from that.
Yeah, the Democratic Party is planning to do endorsements as a whole.
Yes, we have recently heard that this will be our 2nd annual candidate forum virtual. It will be moderated by Dedrick Russell once again, and we're looking forward to a robust 2 evenings of focused questions and hopefully very good answers.
Good. Me too. So me too. I'm glad so many people are doing this though, because I think I've been so mentally in this city council, which I'll get to in a second, that ends tomorrow. This and the bond are really going to be extremely important to focus on. And I do want to bring this up. As CharlotteEAST, we cannot make endorsements at all. There's no no desire to. It's just we have to be very, very careful about how we toe that line. As I found out recently when the Observer published my campaign donations with CharlotteEAST next to my name recently for the municipal elections. It is a very delicate line to walk. So with that said, Louise Woods, who's not on this call, but she had a very good point in talking with folks from BPC earlier. I do think there is a responsibility that as an organization, we do need to inform folks about at least where the candidate stands, particularly as it relates to East Charlotte issues in the bond, because this is really going to be the opportunity. They are going to all represent East Charlotte as at-large candidates. So I know Louise is going to get the ball rolling with a questionnaire that's going to be sent out to all the candidates. And if you want to partake in drafting those questions with her, work with her, I'll be sure to include her contact information in the email that I send out as a follow-up to this. But it's with this number of folks, it's very important to vet as much as possible. So just be on the lookout for that. And Carol, you said Mimi is going to do something?
Econ is doing a forum sometime in October. I'm not exactly sure when.
Okay. All right, but yes, there are 14. There are 14, y'all. And Louise, I see Louise. Hey, Louise, we just got done talking about you. Your ears must have been burning. Where you at?
Yeah, I better get home. I get.
So we were just talking about the. We're actually ending pretty quickly tonight. The board of education elections, right? And I think, as we discussed, I think one of the best ways for us to handle this as an organization is a questionnaire, and ensure that folks are responding directly to East Charlotte issues, and that folks who don't respond, we make that clear as well, because I know that's become an issue, a major issue with this city council race, is folks just straight up ignoring surveys and ignoring community feedback, or the desire to see community feedback about
one thing. As you ask people, about East Side issues, it's really easy for people to say, yes, I think we should do all these things for the East Side, but realize that individual board members have no authority to do anything. So I think it's important to ask them how they would do things. It's not just, I think there's some nuance there that I hope we can sort of watch how people respond, because if people say, I'm going to do this, this, and this, well, a lot of times they say things that is not the purview of the board, or that, they don't have the authority to do. So I think being mindful of that.
A very good point, Carol. And I think the way that what I just heard very, very clearly was, the how is extremely important, right? Like, especially with, I'm sure some of these candidates too, like so many, might not exactly know exactly what the job entails, right? So ensuring that that's laid out in a responsible way is extremely important. So Louise, I voluntold that you were gonna be leading the charge with the writing the questions for the questionnaire. And we'll talk about this, but I think, a list of maybe like 5, because I don't want to overdo it. Like, I saw the Sustain Charlotte one, like I think 5 questions, 4 to 5 questions, because folks don't want to read through 20
I would urge you to pick 3 questions. I mean, because that pertains specifically to East Charlotte, if that's what you want, or even 2. You would not believe how many surveys people get. And, there are often variations on the same question, but still it's a huge amount of work for people to fill out questionnaire after questionnaire after questionnaire.
Yeah, you sound like you've had experience with this.
I've had experience with this, and it's unbelievable. The organizations say, well, we should have a survey.
Yeah.
And suddenly you've got everybody sending you a survey.
No doubt. And I do agree with
And
that.
I'm not even convinced, I mean, ASC sends a survey, it's the St. Charlotte, but it's not clear to me that these surveys are actually going anywhere, that they're being pushed out, or that the information that they get is different or actionable than, some of the other surveys. So I would pick, a very small number of questions, and make them count. That
Like which books would you like to ban and why? Is
yeah.
mine.
Well, there are 5 books that somebody's now targeted.
But no, your point, I hear your point loud and clear, Carol. And I do think Karita made a very good point in the chat. Karita, if you could get maybe a question or reach out to parents as well and see if there's like one that we could possibly add in there from the parent perspective, one of the 3. I do think it is extremely important though, because I don't know how many organizations are going to be doing this. The question on there has to be also about position on the bond. I think it's very, very important because I can't imagine a lot of folks are going to be asking that one. I would hope that they would, but I think it's important that we cover our bases. But again, Carol, to echo what you're saying, I don't want to do something just for the sake of doing it by any means, but very East Charlotte specific issues that folks have to take into account about what does it mean to represent our community, right? So go ahead, Louise.
Yeah, excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go on and finish.
No, you're good.
Oh, okay. What I would suggest is that, if we have time, we can certainly brainstorm a little bit tonight, but it would be helpful if you want me to sort of be the point person on it. I'd like 2 different things. One is I'd like people between now and, let's say this is Monday, maybe between now and Friday, you could put out my email and have people send either the issues or the types of questions or specific questions that they would like to have, knowing that, just tell them we're going to limit it to 3 to 5 questions, preferably 3. But if folks want to send out, if there's something they particularly think is important to ask, and the number of questions too depends on what you ask. There can be a short question, a short question, just a yes or no question you can get through rather quickly. But yeah, I had to get people to help me answer the questions when I was running, and I think it's probably gotten worse. So it is, we do want to be respectful. The other thing, so if people could let me know, any questions they want or any particular topics they feel like are important or issues specifically related to East Side, then if there are 2 or 3 people who would be willing to be on a sort of a subcommittee that we could sort of make the final decisions about it, I'd really appreciate that. I don't know whether people want to volunteer tonight or
I think
we have some others in mind.
No, I think it'll be good to if we can just do that and send it out until Friday, like give folks the opportunity to do it, because I think we're like 6 weeks out from early voting on this. So let's do that. And I put Louise, it's elwoods@bellsouth.net, right?
Right.
Okay, let me put that in as number 1.
And it can be topics, priority. It can be issue, situations, whatever they want us to consider, knowing that we have a limited number of questions.
Okay. So Karita, do you think you'd be able to get that communication out to folks this week, or would you need a little bit longer?
Greg, I got social media. I know how to get it done. I'm all about the millennial, because I think this is such an important issue. And looking at a lot of these people on here, I can honestly say I only know one. And, you really want to know what these people backgrounds are, what they are for, what they are about, what are they against. Because if they're speaking that same language about book banning and, something has to change. Something has to change. And I think the time is now that we get that together and seeing what their thought processes are. So yes, I can get that done and have something to Louise.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. Sounds good, y'all. So I think there's an action item there that I will make sure is clear. And that's a good point that you bring up too, Carol, that there are plenty of book banner candidates, which again, I haven't even done my research yet, and I was almost making a joke, but it really is not a joke. Because even like, I'm going to tell you, like, even now when I'm in my classroom library, like stuff that's been sitting in there since 2014, like in the back of my mind, I'm like, is there anything in here? Which there isn't, but it makes me like, it's a chilling effect, right? And it's just, it makes me like, who wants to deal with it? Right? Like, who wants to deal with that? Okay. So we are sitting at 7:12. Sorry, y'all. We got a guest with me right now. So let me adjust. Sil, are you still on the line?
I'm here trying to understand how did we get here? Banning books. Ridiculous.
So we have I've got your flyer up on the screen to talk about the Fall Fest, which is that's such an awesome event. So if you want to go ahead and talk about that one.
Yes, absolutely. Real quick. We are kicking off our 10th year offering after school and summer programs to newly arrived kids on the east side, and now officially on the southwest side. But on October 15th, we're going to open up our Aldersgate home to the entire community. It's going to be an afternoon full of like things to do with our neighbors and our families. No agenda, just pure fun. There are going to be performances, food from around the world, horse riding. I'm trying to get like mechanical bull, but liability may not allow us. But it's going to be big. It's going to be fun. And we want everybody to celebrate the growing diversity of families and cultures that we have on the east side. The event is free and everybody's welcome to join.
It is, and I see Catherine put it in the chat. It is an awesome event. So like the mechanical bull.
I'm trying. Would you get on it?
It would be cool. It would be cool. But regardless, I think if y'all have never been before, the the stage with music, the food, I mean, like East Charlotte, we talk so much about embracing our cultural identity and the diversity as a strength. And I genuinely do not believe that any singular event that I've been to in the past encapsulates that as well as this. So like truly, I mean, it's just awesome.
Thank you. This year our team has about 20 different countries just on our team, and everybody's involved in planning and sharing in a very genuine, authentic way. So we're all very, very excited and just cannot wait for everybody to join us. I will send you can send a flyer, and
I'll send it.
If you follow us in social media, you can see it.
Right.
Cool.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
It is. The last thing, and it's not education related, but I mean, in a sense, y'all, the municipal elections for primaries for city council is tomorrow. If you have not voted, I would highly encourage in voting. We have 2 candidates in District 5, 3 candidates up for election in District 5. We only have 1 in District 1, which are the areas of overlap for East Charlotte, but District 5 is really the heart of the east side. Then we have 6 at large for 4 seats, right?
Right.
Okay, yeah. So we have 6 for 4. So, there are quite a few endorsements out there. I think the best bet, if you haven't made a decision yet, is to just research the candidates individually on Google. I haven't seen a definitive list of folks that's put in one place that I was like, okay, this is a fair and accurate and a really holistic representation of what these candidates stand for. But please vote. I mean, voter turnout right now, what is it, Louise? It's like abysmal. Isn't it?
I think I heard it's 2%. And for District 5 and for most of the districts, this will not just be the primary, this is actually the election. Even though people who are Republican cannot vote, since it's a primary, it's Democrats and independents. But the other, did you explain why it's such a dangerous?
I did not for the school board. No, I did not for the school board.
Okay,
If you want to go,
okay.
let me
Well,
finish on the hold on real
Okay.
quick on the municipals for tomorrow.
Okay.
Y'all, and you got to have this time a photo ID to vote. And I do understand that they're giving provisional ballots for folks who aren't bringing their photo IDs, but if you have an ID, I mean, really need a photo ID. And tomorrow you do have to vote at your own precinct. And I think I did shoot that out in the email earlier. You can find the precinct if you're not familiar with what your precinct is. You can find it on that website through the Board of Elections. But you know, we got to push civic engagement, right? These folks decide what happens. So, Louise, if you wanted to talk about particularly this one, about your concerns or genuine concerns, but just what you were bringing up.
Oh, okay. And before you probably can't say this, Greg, but Greg does know who has supported the East Side, as the rest of us do. So if anybody has any questions about who to vote for, don't hesitate to call. Okay, that was a commercial. In terms of the school board race, it's particularly dangerous because there's no primary or runoff. And so whoever wins in November, whoever gets the most votes wins. And you could have three people with 30% of the vote or less. You've got 14 people running. So if you have three people who stick together, who maybe aren't so good, but they're sticking together, and if they have a group, you know, a party or a strong group that's supporting them, then they can win over, say, 6 really good candidates who split the vote. And so it's a very dangerous way of voting, to be honest, but that's what we're dealing with right now. And so it's going to be very important for people to do their homework, and honestly for people to get together on the 3 best candidates and be sure that they're, you know, that the votes aren't too scattered. Does that make sense? And I will say that I was with League of Women Voters, and we were in Moore County, and Moore County in 2 elections has changed from a very progressive, a very positive board that got got a bond passed that they hadn't done in years, and all kinds of things, and had, you know, several educators on the board, a very good board. And in 2 elections, they have changed to a board that doesn't have any educators and people who basically are passing one thing after another to tell the teachers what they can or can't do and what they should, and including the book banning and all that. So we do need to be diligent, you know, and not just assume it can't happen here because you thought it couldn't happen in Moore County, and it did.
And the book banners don't talk about banning books. They talk about changing the curriculum. They talk about classical curriculum. And so, you know, some of them are overtly associated with Moms for Liberty. Others are sort of more covertly associated, sort of doing, you know, Florida Light. So it pays to really take a look. And there are some that have clumped together and are running as a group.
And you know what I'm gonna do too, like, you know, because this is a delicate for us in an organizational standpoint, like the questionnaire, I hope we'll be able to do it and word it in a way that really speaks for as much of itself as possible, right? To get all these things in mind, I think some of those questions might be pertinent. But again, just to reiterate, you know, CharlotteEAST in no capacity and no member operating as a capacity of CharlotteEAST endorses candidates at any juncture in any type of race. So just to because I know I'm recording this and sending this out, but just to reiterate again that is that's how we do it. But I think education about the candidates is extremely important, right?
Extremely important.
Yeah. So y'all, I think we're gonna, unless anybody would like to, I'm gonna open it up. We have about 8 minutes left. It's been a very good, thorough meeting. I appreciate all of you for being here and for participating. Does anybody have any announcements that they would like to share while we have a little bit more time left?
I do, Greg. I wanted to let the group know that the Yes for Bonds campaign committee, if you will, is meeting tomorrow morning at 8:30 at the offices of Canopy Realtor Association. I'll put the address in the chat. It's 1120 Pearl Park Way. And there is a parking garage attached to the building, which is across the street from Pearl Street Park. You can use that garage and use the elevators to go to the 4th floor, where the meeting will be held in the boardroom.
Why are you on the committee too?
Yes.
Awesome. Alrighty.
So I'm sharing that because the email that I received asked that it be shared with members of the community. So that's why I'll put this in the chat.
Because aside from the direct outreach that I got, I have not, I didn't know that. Cool. Well, I'm so glad you're going to be on there. Anything else anybody would like to bring up?
Can I just give a quick plug to donate to your local food bank? I was doing a food referral to Loaves and Fishes, and they just said there's a very big need for food at all the food banks. So any churches, organizations you're a part of, this is our families needing to go to the food bank, and there's not a lot of stuff. So thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up. And for those of you, and you can just drop it off really, because I know the big one is at Galilee, right? Well, on the east side, Galilee Ministries on Central has a huge Loaves and Fishes operation. So if you guys aren't familiar, it's right across from House of Pizza. So that's a drop-off point. Are there any other key drop-off points, Anna?
Eastern Hills Baptist used to be drop-off, but that's another big pantry.
Okay.
We have Loaves and Fishes out, I think, one day a week, but we also give food from Central United Methodist to approximately 75 families. Most of them started at Almar Road Elementary School. So if anybody wants to donate.
No, the need is extremely high. Extremely high.
It's huge.
Well, Greg, I have something.
Yes,
I mean, it encompasses everybody. But October 13th, October 12th through the 15th, we are having our Black Child Development Institute 52nd annual conference right here in Charlotte. If you know anyone who wants to volunteer for this great conference, I'm going to put it in the link, so go ahead and sign up. I'm only asking for 4 hours of your time, 2 hours of your time, 30 minutes of your time, just something. But if you want to be at the gala on Saturday at Founders Hall, sign up for that. Yay!
The date, Karita?
October. We're going to need assistance October 12th through the 15th.
Okay.
And so, you're in for a treat. If I can't give you all the secret sauces, but it's going to be great. And we're looking for great teenagers who are looking for volunteer time, something they can put on their resumes, all of that good stuff, because they're going to end up meeting some fabulous people. Oh, that's because it's me. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Karita, one day I hope I can have the optimism and energy you have at 7:30 on a Monday. I love it. Will you please email me that info? Because if it gets put in the chat, I'm probably gonna forget.
Okay. I shall.
Karita, I'm gonna try to donate a volunteer sometime. I've attended the national conference during the pandemic when it was virtual, and it was excellent. So
Oh, yes,
yes,
yes.
okay. I've got to squeeze some hours out.
Well, I would love it. I would love it, SY.
Okay.
I did put it in the chat, and Greg, I will
Okay.
send it over to you.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
it's early childhood educators, you know, we're looking for you to come in and show up and show out too. Come on now.
Greg, also to remember, and that sounds great. I hope I can slip away too. The two things, the opportunity for people to go and speak to the people at Charlotte Museum of History. And, you know, history includes now. So, for example, I hope somebody's going from Bridge still. That would be great. We really need to capture this history of East Charlotte. And it's going to be, you know, individuals to go and share and do that. We do have people from Taste of the World going to do it. So excited about that. But then also I was just trying to find, Greg, the open streets.
Yes, and I'll send that out because that's a whole, I got to get the dates right and all that stuff. But long story short, in October, there's going to be an opportunity in Coventry Woods and by USY. I forget which road it ends on. But for Boston, I think, for folks to come out and enjoy, like participate and meet neighbors. The streets are going to be closed off. There are going to be food trucks. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. So,
and if there are things that people would like to do, I think they're looking for folks who might want to have tables and that type of thing. But if you're going to have a table, you need to have an activity or something that people can do or that people are doing, you know, whether somebody out jumping ropes or whatever else. But for example, ourBRIDGE could have a table and have some of the children out. So anyway, we'll have some entertainment or something from the children. So
awesome. I will send it out.
You're going to send it out?
Well, I'll send it out because it's not until October. It's like October. I forget when.
It's on Redmond Road, the part of Redmond just before at this end, and it goes down to Boston.
So it's on your it's on your end of Redmond, not mine.
Well, Maureen, we tried to get them to open it up both ways. I don't know whether they'll do it though. They seem to be insisting on this end, but we think it needs to go the other end too. But the point is, it's for all of us. There's no reason it's not just as much for your end. You just have to walk across a little bridge if they don't do what Maureen's trying to get them to do.